Hello, welcome to Telecom TV. I'm talking with Nigel Stevenson, who is Director, Market Development, EMEA, the Telcos and Edge Cloud Business Unit. Quite a long title.
It's a mouthful.
Nigel, at VMware, of course. Great to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you.
Let's begin with a catch-up, shall we? Because we haven't talked for a while and the industry will be interested to know what's going on. For several years now, you've been looking at working with the CSP community to transform not only their IT, but also their network infrastructure itself. How's that going? Where are you now?
Going very well. So we're very pleased with the engagements we have with the service provider community in general. You mentioned IT and network infrastructure as two specific points. We're actually, one of the great things we're finding is we're now working with a lot of service provider partners in different parts of their environment. So obviously, yeah, IT has been very much a stronghold for many, many years. We have moved more into the network infrastructure. If we look at things like our NFV deployments and our service assurance deployments, we've now got over 100 communication service providers that are operating those services in production today. And in fact, 100 is becoming a bit of a magic number for us this year. If we look at our SD-WAN customer base, we have, again, over 100 service providers offering SD-WAN as a service to their enterprise customers. So this is separate from enterprises running do-it-yourself services. This is service provider partners offering it as a service to their customers. And then the final area that I would highlight is in our public cloud, or VCPP program as we call it. This is where service providers are partners offering what is effectively a public or a hybrid cloud service out to their customers. So we're starting, aside from other areas like end user computing and so on, within just the infrastructure type services, we're now starting to see a really good traction across not only multiple service providers, but different functions within the service providers, and we think that is offering some new and some unique opportunities as to how we can work further together with those customers.
Thanks, Nigel. So that's where VMware is now. That's the catch-up. From a technical perspective, what do you think is the major opportunity for CSPs right now at this moment?
Okay, well, leading on from what I said, actually, the experience we're starting to build up with service provider partners in the different parts of their infrastructure, so in the private cloud, the public cloud, and so on, we see a huge opportunity to start bringing those environments together. So if we can help work with those service providers to bring their telco cloud, their network environment, together with their public cloud offering, together with their IT services, together with their edge cloud deployments, which are now starting to roll out as well, and we've got a reference architecture around that, we can achieve what we call a consistent platform. And that is really key to developing much higher levels of efficiency, but also to enable much more innovation. If we can create a consistent environment across all these different aspects of the business, we can look to seriously accelerate the speed to market with new services, the efficiency of the platform, and so on. So we call it the multi-cloud environment. We see it as a huge opportunity for the service provider to take advantage of in deploying services, so as an operational benefit, if you like. But there's another aspect to it as well. If we look at the end customer, if we look at the communication service provider's own customers, they are increasingly operating in a multi-cloud environment. That's how they do business. So it's important for service providers to take advantage of multi-cloud in a consistent environment, but it's also valuable in terms of how they connect with their customers and how they interact with their customers. So it's driving a lot of focus around some of our cloud technologies where we can, for example, move workloads around these different environments to match business needs at any given time.
Okay, thanks, Nigel. Over the past few years, the industry has been looking more and more into community-led and open source projects to drive the transformation and to complement or perhaps even replace traditional reliance on standards organizations. How is this trend affecting your approach at VMware to technology development?
Well, we need both, is a simple sort of observation on that. I think there is a perception, I think it largely is the case, that we get more innovation coming through things like community projects. And so that's one of the great things about community-based developments is it brings in more experiences, more knowledge into developing things. But we also need standards. In terms of how that affects what we do, we look to try and absorb the best of both of those environments. So if we take the open source communities, if I look at an example from the past and then maybe looking forward, if we look in the past, in the NFV space in particular, OpenStack was very much adopted as a way forward by the communication service provider industry. It had been in the enterprise space for a while, but it was very much seen as a direction. And a number of customers chose that as a strategy. What we observed going back a year or so now is that those customers were in large part struggling with the implementation of that technology. It was the ability to deploy it reliably, to take it into production. So what we did there was we doubled down on our OpenStack development. We have a product called VMware Integrated OpenStack. We doubled down on that specifically for the communication service provider use case. And where we are today with we have version 6. It's a container-based application out of interest, so it is moving forward in itself. But that product allows the communication service provider to adopt that open source initiative and bring it into their service in a way that's production ready. It has the management environment, it has the lifecycle management to wrap around it. It has the underlying reliability and availability of the infrastructure. So it's making it usable, which is the key thing, and putting it into production. And then if I look forward, we've recently, last 12, 18 months, made a number of acquisitions around Kubernetes. So if you look at the team we brought in from Heptio, which was 2/3 was the original team that built Kubernetes or developed the project. We brought Pivotal back into VMware. With those two moves alone, we're now the second largest contributor to Kubernetes after Google. That is very significant to us as we look towards a journey where we go from today's NFV environments and VIMs to a container microservices-based environment and how we evolve the platform. So that's a looking forward direction where we're very much bringing in these open source initiatives and making them available, but making them available in a way that can be moved into production in an effective and reliable fashion.
Nigel, we've been hearing a lot about VMware in recent months, acquisitions, new products and so on. What does all this mean for CSPs and what does it mean for VMware going forward?
You're right, lots going on. If I look at my own BU, for example, you may have noticed, I noticed with your introduction, we're now the Telco and Edge Cloud BU. So we're bringing technologies together in a sense of how we bring them to market to try and broaden our capability to serve service providers. It's an exciting time. We're bringing in a lot of technology. I've talked about looking forward towards containers and microservices. However, we also remain very rooted in today and making sure we solve today's problems. And to that extent, we're looking to all of our strategies, not just for communication service providers, are around helping customers increase revenue, reducing cost, become much more efficient in their operations, which not only reduces cost but opens up speed of innovation. So that's a very critical aspect. And we're broadening the reach, if you like, as well. We've spoken so far about a lot of what's happening in the core infrastructure, if you like, the core and the edge. We're now taking that out to the access. So one of the most exciting acquisitions we've made recently was with Uhana, application intelligence applied to the RAN. So when we talk about 5G, we've often talked about the impact 5G has as a concept on how we run software-defined infrastructure. We're now actually going right out into the 5G RAN with products such as Uhana.
Final thought to you, really, much as a question. I know from my side of the fence, talking to a lot of people, there's a lot of promises made, and not all of them are necessarily kept or kept at the time they said they would be. And let's not go any further into it than that. But what's different then with VMware? You're not over-promising, are you?
No, absolutely. I don't believe we are. That's not to say we don't have a clear vision. So we absolutely have a vision. We have any device, any application over any cloud. I talked about the multi-cloud journey and bringing those clouds together as being a very important aspect, both from a point of view of interacting with customers from a service provider point of view, but also for the operational benefit. So that is a very clear and very precise vision, and we're moving, if we map that into roadmap, then product development is very much driving towards that. And that's obviously something we do in collaboration with our CSP partners and large enterprise partners. So we have the vision, so in that sense we have the promises, I guess. But we're equally very rooted in working with the community in terms of our customer base and making sure that what we're delivering is actually solving business problems. And I think that may be the balance that some organisations don't always get right when we're trying to solve customer issues. It is about the vision, it is about the roadmap, but we also have to solve customer problems as we go along the journey. And I think that's what keeps us grounded in solving the service provider challenges today.
Excellent. Nigel Stevenson, thanks very much indeed.
Thanks, Martin.